This conference will now be recorded.
So for yesterday, any questions before we just recap and start moving?
No.
Right. So now we have done like our job profile or compensation. Today we'll cover the business process and security groups through which we like control the security, we control the processes, we control how the tasks are being like how any step which are to be conducted in my organization, how it is conducted and all. So there are two things which we'll be covering today. It's more on the security group as well as on the business processes.
So Arun, this is Bala. I last 5 minutes of yesterday's class. Um, uh,
Okay.
yeah, because my internet had some kind of issues, was acting on me. So did you? I know you created the salary, compensation, benefits, and all those things. After that, did you link that entire payroll stuff? I mean, entire the compensation benefit to your supervisor organization?
No, not yet. Not yet,
Not
Bala.
okay. Okay.
So today we will be covering things related to, let me just, we'll be covering security groups and business process. So let's start with the security group first. I'll give you like theoretical overview and then like you can see in the tenant. So in Workday system, as I told you that everything is stored in an object, right? And each object has particularly related fields. Like for worker, it can be their personal like first name, last name, legal name, address, phone number, state, city, province, job, salary, all those things, right? So under that business object, all these things, like all the fields are stored. So now that field, which field, like any field, say, like just as I said, the example about the first name, last name, and all those things, those fields are covered in Workday system as domain. Now, domain is something like which will be telling that okay, like suppose employee's personal information can contain all his personal data, whether it's related to his name and everything, date of birth, his gender, his marital status, his contact numbers, his addresses, all those things. So all those things are called field, and those fields are being governed, controlled by the domain. So what happens is, like, if I am a person who has joined Workday, say maybe like an HR of the organization, then I can tell that if a person who has joined as a HR will have the domain access to like view, edit, or anything the personal records of a particular employee. Now that means that I'm adding that security like security restriction to HR. Okay, only HR in my organization will be able to see all those data. Rest all, nobody can see like what's his marital status and anything like that. We can control, we can restrict the security access to such level that a person in an organization can only see, I mean, the restriction level can be like that the person can only see the first name and last name, and he cannot see the marital status, he cannot see the date of birth, he cannot see the gender, anything. I mean, restriction in Workday system can be done till this granular level, and all these things are controlled by the domain security policies. That is under which domain we are giving the access to a person, and it will only be restricted to that particular domain or particular field, and those things are covered by the security policies. So now security policy, if I'm talking about, this covers like which particular area, which particular domain, which particular field, which particular person or a role can go and see those things or edit those things or view those things, whatever the way. So in that sense, if I come to, that means in Workday, these security policies are governed by a group called security group. Now, what is a security group? Security group is more like, say, take an example that a security administrator. Security administrator is a kind of security group which is like a person who has the complete administrative rights to make or change anything in the Workday tenant, anything. So that is a kind of security group which I'm talking about. Say whether it is a security administrator, whether it is an HR partner, whether it is a compensation partner, whether it is maybe say the managers. So all those things, all these names which I'm talking about are called the security groups in that particular Workday tenant. And based on these security groups, we can assign these groups to any person whom we are hiring. So suppose take an example that I'm hiring a HR person in my company. I will assign him to the security group called HR partner, and that HR partner writes that okay, HR partner in my organization can see these things. That particular person who has been assigned that security group will be able to view and edit all those fields or domains for which we have given the access to. Is that making sense?
One more time, yeah. One more last statement, whatever you made. Can you repeat?
Okay. So as I told you, right, that I take a live example that each supervisory organization is being managed by a manager, right? So manager is not a person; it's a particular role, you can say, right? That somebody in my organization will be doing the management role for this particular supervisory organization. So when I'm talking about a manager, we can say that it is a type of security group on which a person can be assigned to, and when he's assigned to this particular security group, he will be able to do these following things, like he can view his employees personal data, he can view his employees compensation data, he can view his employees say maybe performance data, he can promote him, he can change his salary, or he can approve his leaves, all those things. So anything which is related to the access part in Workday system is being covered by the security group. And one such security group example is manager. That is a manager managing his employees can do these things. So any person who will be hired in a company is like, if he's hired as a manager, he will be assigned to this particular security group, which is called manager. Similarly, let us take another example, say HR partner. Now that is a security group name which we have. Suppose we have created in our tenant. Okay, there is a security group called HR partner, and any organization, any person who is being hired in our company as HR or as an HR partner will be tied up to this particular security group. What will happen is any access which was given to the HR partner security group will be automatically inherited by the person who has been given the role of HR partner in the organization.
Okay.
Is that making sense now, Wala?
Yes. So you mean to say the security group will tell you what you can do, what we can do on what, and the
Correct.
role,
Correct.
and you attach the security group to the role.
Yeah, exactly.
A manager
Right?
can have multiple security groups.
A
So
manager
Arun,
can,
security group,
yeah,
the security group is mapped to or organizational supervisory hierarchy.
exactly. So I'll tell you another thing now. So just till now, I have given you the example that what is called security group. Now in Workday, there are two categorization in security group. One is called constrained, and another is called unconstrained.
Okay.
So what does this constrained and unconstrained means? Constrained constrained means that suppose in my supervisory organization, I have hired 5 people. Okay. Until now, I have not assigned any role to them. So in my current supervisory organization, there are only 5 people. And if I make a security group which is of constrained type, what does that mean is in that particular organization, the HR partner, the say we have created 2 3 security groups, say HR partner, compensation partner, or anything kind of that, then only those 5% can take up that role. Okay, no other person in the tenant, if they are hired in any other supervisory organization, will be able to take up that role for that particular supervisory organization. What does that mean is if we create a security group which is of constraint type, only those people who are hired in that particular supervisory organization will be able to take up that security group access if it is of constraint type.
Okay.
Is that making sense?
So basic question is one person cannot belong into more than one supervisory organization, right?
Exactly.
Okay. So when a security group becomes a constraint, when you attach a security group to supervisory organization, then it becomes a constrained one. Or when you create a
So,
security group itself, you can say it's a constrained one.
so when we create a security group, it asks for two things: whether you want to create a constrained security group or you want to create an unconstrained security group. Okay, that's first thing. Now, any security group we create in the system is all available for any of the supervisory organizations. Okay, all the security groups, whatever we create. Now, what happens is, suppose we have created 5 security groups in our system: say, manager, HR partner, comp partner, you can say stock manager. So suppose these are 4 security groups I have created, and all these security groups, let's take an example that initially they are of type constrained. Now, what will that mean? That these 4 security, if I have created 100 supervisory organizations, these 4 security groups will be available for all those 100 organizations, and any person can take up that role in that organization. But if it is constrained one, then in each organization, suppose if there are 2, 2, 3, 3, 4 employees, only those particular person will be able to do the role of this security group in that organization. Now let's take an example, live example. Suppose I have an organization called XYZ Corp. I have an organization called XYZ Management. I have an organization called XYZ Sales, and I have an organization called XYZ Management. Let's take an example. That these are the 4 supervisory organizations we have created in the system. Now, suppose in XYZ Corp, there are 4 employees. In management, there are 3 employees. In sales, there are 5 or 6 employees. And in management, there are like 5 employees. What will happen is, now all these security groups are available to all these 4 supervisory organizations. If it is of type constraint, then in this particular organization, like XYZ Corp, let's say an example, and if any employee is going for leave and the HR partner, so suppose in our process that the HR partner will be approving the leaves for that employee. So this HR partner role can only be taken by any of these 4 employees only. Nobody else can take up this role if the security group is of type constrained one. Okay. But if it is of type unconstrained, it means out of 437, 613, 518, out of 18 employees which are there in our system, one HR partner can be hired in any of these organizations, but will be able to do the HR partner role in all these 4 organizations.
Yeah.
Is that making sense?
Yeah, makes sense. But when you create let's say you are creating a security group, and I want to create a security group as a constrained type, okay?
Yeah.
So when you say it is a constrained type, when you at the time of creating the security group itself, you need to say it is going to be used by which supervisory organization.
No. At the time of creation, we just created, and all these security groups, whatever we create, that group is being assigned, available for the organization. If any person we want to assign, we can assign. If we don't want to assign, we will not assign it. So that group will remain vacant or will remain blank if it is not being assigned to anybody.
No, what you said is when one of the security group is happen to be a constrained security group, and
Yeah.
assume that constrained group is going to be used by XYZ car. That is your
No. Wait. There is the difference. Constrained group doesn't restrict the group to be available for any particular organization, but to a particular person. So it means that HR, suppose we in this XYZ Corp, the HR partner role has to be given. Like in my organization, there will be at least one HR partner, right, who will be able to approve things. Now, if it is of type constraint, what does that mean? That for XYZ Corp, there will be an HR partner out of these 4. For XYZ Management, there will be an HR partner out of these 3. For XYZ Sales, there will be an HR partner out of these 6 only. And for XYZ Management, there is an HR partner out of these 5 only. Right? If it is of type constrained.
Go ahead.
Yes. But if it is of type unconstrained, then what happens is, for XYZ Corp, HR partner can be any of these 18 employees. Then that will not restrict that who can take up that role either from a particular organization or from anywhere else in other organizations as well. Is that
That means that means constrained security group can be only one employee in particular supervisory hierarchy, right?
no, not in the hierarchy, but a particular organization.
Sorry, man, it
Okay.
is not clear to me, man. Sorry.
Okay, I'll okay. Let's just put the names and then it will be more easily for you to relate. Let's say in XYZ Corp, there is Arun, then there's Rahul, then there's Shashank, then there is Vivek. In XYZ management, it's Deepak. XYZ says Anurag. Let's think like this, that this is the organizational structure, that in XYZ Corp these 4 employees are hired, in XYZ management these 4, in XYZ sales these 4, and in XYZ marketing it's like say,
Rakesh.
right now what happens is, suppose I have created a security group which is called HR partner, okay, and that security group is of type constrained, right? So now for each so as I told you that employees are always hired in a supervisory organization, and anything which happens to them will be controlled by the supervisory organization only. That even if a person is promoted, then that thing can only be done if he's like aligned in a particular supervisory organization. So what does that mean? That suppose in my organization, only if the employee is going for a leave, only the HR partner can be able to approve the leaves. Nobody else, not the managers, nobody else. Only HR partner can approve the leaves for all the employees who are going into the system. That means that in each organization, there has to be someone who will take up this HR partner role, right? Is that making sense?
Right. Yes.
Now, if I create a security group which is of constraint type, then that means that for XYZ Corp, HR partner can either be Arun, Rahul, Shashank, or Vivek. Nobody else, right? In XYZ management, HR partner can be Deepak, Hina, Ankita, or Varun. Similarly for sales and similarly for marketing. But if a group is unconstrained, then that means that I can make, say, let's say I make Anurag the HR partner, irrespective of the organization. He can be the HR partner for XYZ Corp as well. He can be the HR partner for XYZ management as well. He can be the HR partner for XYZ sales as well. And he can be the HR partner for XYZ marketing as well.
Okay.
Is that bit clear?
Understood.
Because this is the key area. I mean, security is always the key functionality, whether you go for functional side, whether you go for the technical side, or anything like that. But this thing will always be like, even if you go for any interviews or anything kind of that, security group is a key question which will always be asked by the interviewers. Security will always be the key question which will always be asked by the you can say your clients and everywhere. And that is it is very easy, it is very like important to understand about the security group. So first of all, we talked about two categories of security group. One is constrained and one is unconstrained. Is that making sense what I have explained till now, or should I just repeat it once?
Yeah, I kind of understood. Let me repeat, man. Correct me if I'm wrong, okay?
Yeah.
So if it is a constrained thing, then you can do within your supervisory organization only.
Okay. Let me come up again like once again.
Sorry, man.
It's okay. It's okay. Irrespective of the don't relate first super security group with the supervisory organization. Don't relate it. That's the first thing. Whether it is constrained or whether it is unconstrained, it is available to all the supervisory organizations. That's the first thing, right? Whether I have created a security group for constrained, that doesn't mean that only XYZ Corp will be able to access this group. No, all these organizations which are in the tenant will be able to access that particular security group. That's one thing. So for constrained security group, don't relate it with any of the supervisory organizations. What I'm saying is that if a group is created as constrained security group, then for each organization, that group is available, that anybody in each organization can become an HR partner if we want to assign. If you don't want to, we don't want to. But if you want to assign, then this group is available for all these 4 organizations. The only difference being that if I'm talking about XYZ Corp and I have to assign somebody as HR partner, I can only assign the employees who are hired in that particular organization.
The person should be of HR XYZ Corp only.
Yes, that is what is constraint group restricts.
Okay.
Getting it? It has nothing to do that for this particular supervisory organization or for this, no. But it only restricts that the organization's employees can only take up that role.
Okay.
That means XYZ marketing, that Mr. Suraj is cannot be a HR partner for XYZ Corp, right?
Exactly.
Okay.
So you same example. HR partner is a constrained security group. Okay,
Yeah.
I'm taking it to XYZ Corp.
Okay.
Arun can be an HR partner, right? Arun can be assigned with
Correct.
HR partner, right?
Correct.
Similarly, Deepak can be HR partner too, even though it is constrained.
Correct.
Anurag can be again HR and Suraj can be HR too,
Correct.
even though the HR is constrained.
Yes.
Even if it is unconstrained, similar same thing is possible.
It's possible, but the difference being that I can make any one of these employees HR partner and he will be able to do the role in all these 4 organizations.
All the 4 organizations.
So he doesn't need to be the employee of that particular supervisory organization.
So across supervisory organization is possible if it is unconstrained.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Okay, got it, man. Got it.
Right?
The employee of another organization can be a HR partner for another organization.
Exactly.
Okay.
Right? And that is why if I take another example, in Workday, manager is always an unconstrained security group. Can you understand why now?
Mm-hmm.
Reason being, as I told you, right, manager is always hired one level above. So if he has to become the manager of the bottom organization, then that group has to be unconstrained. Getting it?
Even HR rights is also unconstrained because it will going to handle
Typically,
all
HR partners, managers, all these things are unconstrained security. And another
Arun,
thing,
I have a question. So,
yeah,
when we are talking about HR partners, right? Sometimes we have we could have scenarios where we have regional HR partners where they have visibility only to their regional data. And then we have global HR partners where they can see everybody's data. So in that
exactly.
case, does that mean that we will have multiple security groups, one for regional HR partner, and then we have one more for global HR partner?
No, what happens is that here comes the hierarchy. Hierarchy comes into the picture. That any person who is having the role of HR partner on a supervisory organization, he will have the rights from his organization to the down level organization. Okay, he cannot view anything above that. Getting it?
So the security is flowing from the supervisory organization.
It's from like top to bottom approach. But as per your scenario, these things can also be made restrictions can be made based on the locations, but typically that's not preferred. Reason being that since these things are controlled by hierarchy, you don't have to worry about it.
Okay, so that means if we are talking about, let's say, these four cases XYZ Corp management sales, let's say we are talking about APAC, EMEA, and North America region.
Yeah.
So we have three supervisory organizations then, EMEA, APAC, and North America. So then we have HRBP mapped to each of the three regions, which will be constrained HRBP. So they can
No,
only
no, no,
view.
no, no, no. That doesn't need to be constrained. But what I'm telling is, let's just do this thing. Let's create a hierarchy, and then I'll be able to understand. Like suppose my top level is XYZ Corp. Then in between I have, like as we have said, EMEA, APAC, and USA. Similarly, behind EMEA we can have like UK, Germany, France. In APAC we can have India. So don't confuse this with the like locations. I'm just putting it as an organization name,
Okay.
right? In China it's NY, say California, right? Now what happens is, I have created one HR partner group which is unconstrained type. Okay, what does this mean is that suppose I am here at EMEA level, and in EMEA level I am assigning, say, HR partner role. Uh, at EMEA level, suppose I am assigning HR partner role to like anybody. It's like, say, Rahul. So what it means is that Rahul can be the HR partner for EMEA, for UK, for Germany, and for France, right? And even if he's not for UK, Germany, or France, since he's at the higher level, he has all the rights to see everything which are under the UK, Germany, and France. Okay, but he will not be having the rights to access APAC organization hierarchy, or USA organization hierarchy, or XYZ Corp. Is that making sense?
Okay.
Right? So that, what does that mean is that even if the security group is of type constrained or unconstrained, that doesn't matter. What it matters is that as per the hierarchy, he can have the rights. That is, if HR partner is assigned at EMEA level, he has the rights to view anything and everything which are in their downward, down supervisory hierarchies. He cannot see it parallelly as well, or he cannot see at the top as well.
So if in this case, if we say HR partner unconstrained, then
Yeah.
will he be able to view APAC or USA data?
No, never. I mean, see, constrained, unconstrained, that's what I'm saying. That doesn't restrict like whether it is providing any data. What it tells is that if a HR partner thing is unconstrained, then anybody from EMEA or from UK, Germany, France, XYZ Corp, anywhere, if an employee is hired, he can take up that role. And if he's assigned like at EMEA level, then even if it is constrained or unconstrained, that doesn't matter. If he's at EMEA level, then downwards he'll have all the rights for HR partners. Not in the APAC or USA, but only in EMEA, UK, Germany, or France. Even if he's hired anywhere, that doesn't matter. But he'll only be having rights in his particular hierarchy. From here, he has taken up the role of HR partner.
I am not clear, Arun.
Okay.
So,
Okay. I'll explain it once again. See, first of all, no need to worry about whether constrained or unconstrained can restrict your regional data or like that. No, constrained and unconstrained only means that an employee of particular supervisory organization can take up that role, or anybody who is being hired in the system can take up that role. That is the only difference which is controlled by constrained and unconstrained, and nothing else. Now coming to your question, that suppose there are three regional VP HR partners, I can say. One is for EMEA, one is for APAC, and one is for USA. And then there is a global HR partner which is working at XYZ Corp. Okay. Now what does that mean? That suppose if I have made global HR partner as somebody from any of these, like in XYZ, EMEA, APAC, USA, anywhere, if and that group is unconstrained, then this global HR partner role can be taken by an employee even if he's hired at California. Getting it? If it is an unconstrained security group, then global HR partner can be anybody who is hired at California as well, because that is not restricting it to a particular supervisory organization employee. That means this this role can be taken up by anybody who is hired in the Workday system. That's the first thing. Now, if somebody is assigned the role of global HRP at XYZ Corp level, then that means like he is like the HR partner for all the or supervisory organizations which are in the system. Reason being, XYZ Corp is the topmost organization, and all these organizations are somewhere reporting to XYZ Corp. Is that making sense?
Okay.
Now, if we go one level down, that is, now if we take an example that we have 3 HR partners at a regional level, that is one for EMEA, one for APAC, and one for USA. What will that mean is, now this, even if it is, let's take HR partner is an unconstrained group. I'm just taking the same example. Then this HR partner role at EMEA level can be given to anybody out of these 8 to 10 organizations. Like somebody who is hired in USA can also take up the HR partner role of EMEA. He doesn't need to be in EMEA organization. He can be like from anywhere, but can take up the role of HR partner. Then what will happen is that now, if we suppose a USA employee is the HR partner for EMEA, he'll be able to access EMEA, he'll be able to access UK, he'll be able to access Germany, and he'll be able to access France. But he will not be able to access USA or New York or California. Reason being, here he's not assigned that HR partner role. No.
No, but if we are assigning the HR partner role unconstrained in USA, right? Because he is from USA,
Yeah.
right? So if he is from USA, then we are mapping the HR partner role to the USA supervisory organization, correct?
No. We are only mapping that role to a particular person, not to the supervisory organization. Okay. We are not mapping it to a supervisory organization. We are only mapping it to a particular person, right? And that is why it will not do any harm in that particular organization.
Okay.
Is that making sense?
Yeah,
Arun,
okay, got it.
I have
Yeah.
a question. You can
Yeah.
attach the supervisory organization, I mean, you can attach the security group to the supervisory organization level or role level, or it can be individual person level.
So these security groups are always being assigned to a person, not to a supervisory organization, not to anywhere. It has always been assigned to a person.
When you say person, it's a role or a physical person.
Physical person. Physical person.
Okay.
Okay. So that is what I'm saying.
One more question, sorry. So if let's say we assign the HR partner unconstrained role to this person who's working in USA supervisory organization, and we want
Yeah.
him to manage the EMEA region, so that means somewhere we have to specify that he's managing EMEA region and not APAC. So where do we set that up?
So that we will see in the tenant. But what happens is that we go to, so suppose we have to assign HR partner role of EMEA, right? We will go to this security supervisory organization, and in that what we will do is we will assign the security group which is called HR partner to the person who is from USA, right? So he will come and take up that HR partner role in EMEA. Even if he's not from EMEA, it's fine, but he can take up the HR partner role for EMEA.
So we specify one HR partner role for EMEA, and then we have one HR partner role for USA.
Exactly.
And we assign the HR partner EMEA role to this US based person.
You can, yeah, if it is unconstrained. That's what I'm saying.
Yeah, if it is unconstrained.
Yeah.
Okay.
Right.
Arun.
Yeah.
Actually, I want to know what is cover under security group. Security group for if I elaborate this, this task. There's three type of security. One is what type of task I can do. Second
Yeah.
is what type of employee I can see, and
Yeah.
what type of action I can do. So all these three is covered under security group, or all these are the separate policies I have to define.
So all these things are covered under that security group, but these all things are governed by the security policy. Okay. So in
Okay.
Workday system, there are two types of security policy. One is domain security policy, and the another is business process security policy.
Okay.
Now, as the name suggests, this domain security policy restricts what kind of data is visible to a particular security group. Okay.
Okay.
So if it is related to data, we play with the domain security policy. If it is related to actions, to task, we configure the business process security.
Okay.
So
We will see. Yeah.
reports comes under what?
So reporting comes under this domain security policy. Reason being, in reports, we always fetch the data, right? We are bothered about the data in reporting. We are not bothered about actions. We are only bothering about, suppose I have to send my first name, second name, last name to a vendor, then I'm only talking about the data access, right? So those things are covered under the domain security policy. But if it is like that a person leave can be approved by HR partner, that is some action or some task has to be done, those things are governed by the business process.
Okay.
Right?
Arun,
Question,
Yeah,
man. Basic question. Sorry to bother you guys.
no problem.
When you attach a security policy, right, to a person,
No, we attach these security policies to security groups.
which is smaller? Security policy is smaller or security group is smaller?
So smaller, it's not like a smaller, it's more like that security groups. So let's take an example that in a company, all the employees has to come at 9 a.m. and that is the organizational, say, discipline policy, right? So what will that mean? That employees are there in the organization, but they are being governed by the policies we create, correct? Similarly, security groups are like something which a person can be assigned, but his restriction or his task-driven activities can be controlled by these security policies.
Got it, man.
Right? Now,
Arun,
so
Arun,
yeah,
Arun, I have one query. See, for
yeah,
example, I have two type of security group. One is HR executive and second is HR manager. Okay,
yeah.
I have CEO and CTO also working in the same organization. And can I do some setting like HR executive cannot see the salary details of CEO and CTO, but HR manager can see this that type of policy? Can I do it? He can see
You can do it. You can. All those things can be
other
configured.
details. He can do other details, but salary part HR executive cannot see. Can that type of
Huh,
setting we
you
can
can.
do?
That's what I'm saying. Then that is like restriction of data, right? That is, you cannot see the
Okay, okay.
salary of a person. That is a restriction of
Hmm.
data. So we'll tell that okay,
Okay.
only HR manager can see the salary and compensation of that particular organization, but HR executive can only see the personal data.
That to particular organization data.
I mean, wherever he is having that particular role in that
Hmm.
organization, HR partner can see the compensation of all the employees, but HR executive can only see the personal information of the employee. So you can restrict
No.
that using the domain security policy.
So, for example, if HR executive is working and under XYZ Corp Global,
Yeah.
so he can see salary detail of all the employees, or I can block some employees under that
No,
particular
you cannot
security group.
block some employees. You can only
Okay.
block the data, whether it is for all the employees or for none of the employees. It's more like that.
Okay. So, can I do setting like this? Whoever is above me or my level, I don't want show that salary data
That is a security.
to.
That is a security, right? If somebody is HR partner of EMEA, he cannot do anything in XYZ Corp. That's why I'm saying that in security groups, all those access things flow from top to bottom. That if you're
No,
sitting at the top and
no,
yeah,
in if HR executive is in XYZ group at the top level,
yeah.
and they in that particular group, CEO and CTO is also working.
No, but see, CEO and CTOs are
I have to
are
create.
not the manager of HR partner, right?
Okay,
They are
other
not the
I have
manager,
to create other supervisory organization and map them to top level. Okay, no issue.
right?
Yeah, understand.
Arun, do you have any documents related to the security which you can share with us?
Uh, I need to find out. I mean, right now, as of now, as I told you, that it is not available. We whenever we go for the trainings kind of that. But what I can do is I can create something, or I can find something if something is available, and then I'll share it with the team. So like our technical team, and they'll be able to send it to you. But right now, I cannot assure you that if there is something.
So the training document that can be those are not shareable.
So Workday doesn't provide any training document as such. I mean, it's kind of that. So it's like when we go for any training by Workday, we are in a classroom where they teach us, where they provide all the all the content when the teacher when the person is training it. That's the only way we learn, like the way we are doing it here. It's kind of that, and that is very restricted. That whatever information they give at that time, so it's any document. It's totally non-shareable in terms of Workday structure. But that's what I'm saying. If I get something, I'll look into places where I can have. If I can get something, then I'll create a doc which I'll share with the technical team, and they will be able to forward to you once they can cross check whether it is shareable or kind of that.
Okay.
But I'll create something which will be more easier for you all to understand and to see what is theoretically behind all those things,
That's fine, man. That's fine.
right? So till now, is that fine? Whatever we have learned, or any other question?
No, man. You just show on the application how you are going to do all those things.
Yeah, but there are few more there's still, that's what I told you, like security is one of the major factors in. So right now what we have learned is totally all about, okay, let's just start with the small level things. So as you asked, right, what is bigger, whether a security group or a policy, then first thing is always configured is the policy. That is, policies are always made, and then we make changes as per the policies or as per the new security groups we create. So let's go and see like what is in Workday system called the domain security policy. So Seema, you were asking one question yesterday, right? That there will be only one credential or any one thing, any one user access is provided, right? And if you have to do multiple approvals, I'll be able to do it. Correct? Hello? Hello?
Hello.
Yeah. So yesterday, I think Seema had asked one question. It was related to how we can log in as different users to approve things. So
Mm-hmm.
there's a task in Workday system which is called Start Proxy. Using that Start Proxy, you can log in as any particular person in the Workday system. So it doesn't need to log off or log on, but you can use Start Proxy thing. And then if you see right now we are logged in as Maria Cardoza, but when now I'm doing the Start Proxy as Logan McNeil, I will log in as Logan McNeil. So now if you see the things have changed, that welcome on behalf of Logan McNeil. So that is how so if in your process approvals, once we like running through our business processes, you will see that lot many approvals will be done by lot many people. So you don't have to log off and log out every time. Just go for the Start Proxy and you can log in as that person.
This is available in production tenant also.
It's only available for this like for all those consultants who will be working in the system, and even if this can be provided to particular security groups, again this can be configured.
Hey, one more question,
So,
ma'am.
Arun, we can initiate any process also from proxy, right? It's not restricted
Ah,
to anything.
no, no.
Okay.
So it's more like that I have logged in as Logan McNeil now.
Hmm.
So
Arun, I
that is
have one
that.
more question, Arun.
Yeah.
Right? When you click on that the your image, can you click the image?
Here.
Your picture.
Yeah.
Okay, there is a documentation section, right? When you go there,
Let's go.
this is how you generally get into the community,
Yeah. That goes to the community part of work.
right? But I don't. Yeah, in the access that you guys provided, right? Do I have an access to go to community and see what are the
No, this thing is only being provided to persons who are working in the Workday domain. Like either they are at a client location or they are at a like any Workday implementation locations. Reason being that this thing is controlled by the Workday only.
so we can't even get the view access?
No, that is why I told you, right? Workday is very strict about their content sharing. Workday is very strict about their login, everything. That is the only complex part in Workday system. So if you go for any other HRMS tool or any other like CRM tool, it is one domain copy, or you can say one practice tenant or practice copy is available to all the person, whether they are certified, whether they are non-certified, whether they are in the Workday domain or not. But with Workday, they have restricted all these things to particular person who is working either in a client location or anywhere where the Workday work is being done, and he's in that practice. Because Workday needs to know that who is getting these accesses, and as soon as Workday approves it, then only these accesses can be provided to anybody.
Okay, so without working in Workday, I cannot get certified in Workday.
So the certification which are directly being provided by Workday can only be done can only be done if you are working in a partner company. The Workday has like around 30-35 partners. If you work in any of those partner companies, then only you get certified by the Workday.
Otherwise, there is no way you can get certified from outside.
No.
Mhm.
So now let's take an example that this is this domain security policy which control the data restriction. So if you see here that any person's personal data, and the items which you can see, I'll open it up. So the items like government ID, then custom ID, employee ID, government ID, his like his ethnicity, his license, his national ID, anything related to this, anything, all these fields are covering under the name called personal data. And only these security groups, if you see here, that is say HR administrator, HR partner, service center, band office manager, benefits administrator, only these particular security groups have the access to see these things. Like what are the securable items I have showed you, all the fields which I have showed you just now, only these particular security groups can have the access to view these things. Is that making sense?
But Arun, there are so many of them. So how do we set up the security? Is it through iLoads?
Oh, yeah, you can create the security groups also through iLoads. You can also create like what kind of particular policies each security group is assigned to. You can do it through iLoads. Everything can be done through iLoads.
Okay, but typically how is it done? Like initially when we have to load these security groups for all these fields, because there are a lot of fields over there, right?
Yeah. So
So
all
then
these
how,
things are done through iLoads only at the initial level of the tenant setup.
and how do we get the requirements from the client? Like, do we give them like a template sort of a thing where we tell them that, these are the.
I'll show you that. Okay, let me show you that iLoad sheet once, so that we will see that in a bigger picture later. But let me just show you that. So if you see, this particular functionality is not available to Logan McNeil, right? That functionality is only applicable to the implementers or the consultants who are building that tenant. Okay,
Okay.
so I'll show you once I'll have the once I'll get once I take the access as an implementer, I'll show you that iLoad template as well. Or tomorrow I'll get it from someone and I'll show you to you how that iLoad sheet looks like and how we share it to the customers.
Okay.
So till now, is it making sense, right? How the security groups have the access to each level?
Arun,
Yeah,
uh, what actually we saw that this is a field level security you are displaying, right?
correct.
So the field is okay. Which employee he can see? That also restriction is there somewhere.
That is already right from on the level of organization where he has taken that role to the lower level organizations.
Lower level only.
He cannot see up level hierarchies.
Any employee from
That
my.
particular organization to the lower levels,
Okay,
right?
got it.
So you can go to field by field as well. That suppose if I want to see date of birth to only HR analyst, I will assign the role here, the security group here, and then he will be only able to see the date of birth for that particular employee,
Mhm.
right? So that is what is called domain security policy. Is there any question or any confusion in that?
No.
All right. Second thing which I told you
What are
was
the Arun, what are the securable actions?
if anybody can change, if anybody can edit, if anybody can view. So what does this mean is, if you see here, there are two categories. One is view and one is modify, right?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
So that is what is covering under the securable actions, that what he can do for this particular feed. Either he can see it or he can change it. Is that making sense?
And what are the different types?
Where types. So
Yes.
that is like this. Either you can see in the report or directly as a like when you go into that employee section.
Okay.
There are different kind of reports, whether it can be at the reporting level or it can be at the employee level, all those kind of things.
Okay.
Is there the type class and then there was a could you please click on that
Yeah.
class and then we have a work set. So these are what, like different kind of actions or
These are kind of different. It's mean like, suppose like if you're talking about worker secure to worker data, that means if you open that worker profile page, then you can see these things. Here, if you see, it can be coming under a report. Here you can see, since that is an action, right? Whether that whole process of changing that event, that can be who can like view or who can like modify
okay, but like what does class signify?
as a whole. As a whole.
Okay, I'm not sure. Like, are these technical terms or
So these are like the terms which is taken up by Workday, but as I told you, right, always in Workday system everything is governed by objects, and objects are nothing just like a but a class that is at the top level. Everything is coming under that class. So if you talk about these things, it's more of, you can say, the technical terminologies, but it's more about at the complete level of like date of birth, everything or anything which happens is like can be done either as a view or as a modified. Then it is something like, if it is just like going to the secure workers profile page, what can be done or what cannot be done is kind of that. These are more of the terminologies which are taken up by Workday, that how they restrict the access to a particular security group or to a particular a particular action or a task.
okay,
So
okay,
those things we cannot change. That is what I told you, right? That as a configuration part, those things we cannot change, because these all things are are done by the Workday itself.
okay. So other than the type being there for like understanding what exactly these items are, do we need it during our configuration?
No,
Do we need
no.
that?
You only need to know.
Okay,
You only need to know two things. One is either you have the view access or you have the modify,
okay, okay.
right?
Yeah.
Okay. Now, another thing which I talked about the security policy was related to security. Sorry, business process security policy. Let's say hire employee is a business process, right? Which controls like how an employee is hired into the Workday system. We will see that once we'll be like completing this security part, and once we'll be moving into the business processes, we will see that. So suppose suppose let's take an example that hiring is a business process which specifies the steps you have to go for, so that a person can be hired into the employee. Now, as like I think Vivek had asked that question, that whether it is task driven or it is data driven. So now all those task driven things are controlled by business process. That is, if you see here, uh, who can initiate a hiring, that is who can initiate whether an employee is hired into the system. These security groups, like since this is a practice tenant, you'll see a lot many things. These security groups which are created or which are being assigned can initiate the business process of hiring. If I scroll down a bit more, it's like who can approve any step. Then approvers can again be assigned to a security group, that okay, in my business process, if any approval is coming up, then these particular security groups can approve it. Nobody else, no other security group apart from these 47 security groups which are there, can approve any step in a business process. So similarly, if we go with these things, like anybody who can cancel the hire, only these particular security groups which are being given the task of canceling can do a cancel of the business process which is happening in the system. So that is all task driven. Business process policies are always task driven. Security policies are always data driven. Is that making sense? Any
Arun,
yeah.
in real world situation, are these discussed with the client by the like a BA or somebody, and then it's provided to the consultant? Or how does it work?
Exactly. So when we go for the requirement section, when we go for the like requirement gathering, we always talk like have the requirement session with the customers, that okay, this is the business process which is called hire. Now who do you want can approve the business process, who do you want can initiate it, who do you want can cancel it. All those things are being given by the customers itself.
Got it.
So
Thank you.
that is why typically, if I tell you, Workday implementations are done in two phases. One is the phase 0 and one is the phase 1. So phase 0 is nothing but just like a prototype we create in a Workday tenant and show it to the customer that this is how it will look like. Now suppose when I'm talking about a higher business process, we'll open the process and log the customer. What steps do you need? What are the approvers you need? Which security group you think can approve all those things? All those things are discussed during the phase 0 implementation, which is nothing but more like a prototype model we create and give the demo to the customer. And in that way, we get all the requirements from the customer so that they understand how it gets into the system and what they need, then they can specifically tell about. Right? So these all things are done at the higher level when all those requirement gathering, all those post signing of the deal, we talk about all those things. Right? Is that making sense?
Yeah. Thanks.
Yeah. So I'll not add up to more because I think still it's very very confusing. So what I'll suggest is, like, once you get this recording and all, just go through it once again, get all your questions, anything which comes into your mind. Tomorrow when we'll configure it, before that I'll also try to get a documentation on it and I'll share it with my technical team so that they can share it with you. I'll try to formalize that and send it to you so that tomorrow when we connect, at least we should have all those things which we have discussed. Fine.
Okay.
Yeah. So I'll not add more to it. Reason being that it will get more complicated if this basic level things are not like cleared in a better manner. Fine.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I'll try to share one document. I'll try to create one which will have the full description about the security. You can go through it, and then tomorrow once we'll connect, get all your queries and everything resolved before we proceed with the demo.
Arun, can I ask a question other than security?
Fine.
How many levels of approval I can create in this for a single workflow?
So you can go on till the top level person in the organization.
Okay, there's no restriction of count.
No.
And this work approvals can be done on the basis of time.
You can put a delay as well. That is within two
Okay, if
days,
the
he has to approve it. Within 5 days, he has to approve it. Or it's more like,
okay,
suppose an HR is approved, then it will go to that person after one day. All those things are possible.
okay, okay. That these settings are there in training sessions.
Everything will be there. So once
Okay,
we'll go in the business processes, we will see how these things are configured.
okay,
So that's what I can assure you. Once you'll be like through this training, you will be knowing at least like in and out of HCM functionalities in Workday system,
okay. Thank you.
right? So any other question? So once you have the recordings, please just go through it, get your questions and everything, because this is the very key part of Workday. So we can spend a day or two more on this, because this thing is the most important thing which you have to understand and you have to learn before you go and think of yourselves as Workday consultants in any structure, because clients are always focused about the security. Since this is in cloud, they always focus about the security,
Okay,
right?
Arun, thank you.
Sure. So thanks, guys. Thanks for your time. We'll connect
Thanks, Arun.
again tomorrow and move
Yeah.
forward.
Okay, thank you.
Okay.
Good night,
Thanks,
Arun.
Arun.
Yeah, thank
Thanks,
you.
Arun.